everybody. Let me change that camera so I can. Yeah, there we go. Let me put it on. Start with our sponsors earlier. Okay. Today is Monday, February 17th, and it's President's Day. Edit. We are on YouTube at Fort Worth Memories, and we're fixing to be on Fort Worth Memories, the live videos. Oh, shoot. I screwed up again. Hold on. My brain's not thinking yet this morning. Now, today is going to be the best day of the week, from what I can tell. Okay, so Monday, February 17th. And we're going to save that, and then we're going to share it to the internet. Fort Worth Memories. Live videos. Okay. Let me turn that sound down. And it's cold outside. It's right at 32 or 33 degrees. But today is going to be, I believe, the best day of the week. And let me re-verify with my weather person or weather app, whatever you call it. It's 32 now. It's going to be 57. Tomorrow is 60% chance of rain, low of 26, high of 53. Then Wednesday it gets real windy, 19 degrees in the morning, and it only gets to 33. Thursday's even worse. It's sunny, but it's 14 in the morning, 33 in the afternoon. Friday is 25 in the morning, 39. Then on Saturday we start to come out 30 in the morning, 51, 31, 63. Monday and Tuesday are in the 70s. So that's where we are on the weather. Larry is in, George is in, Sam's in, I'm in. Okay. I do have a detail this morning, so y'all will have to catch me on breaks. What else is going on? That don't know where we're going to eat yet. That really doesn't start entering my brain pattern until about Tuesday or Wednesday. Getting a message already. And it's our Cleburne group. Okay, so I need to touch base with Sherry Holt and find out exactly when the party's going to be. I think Sherry and I agreed on the third Saturday in July. And I need to, this week, tomorrow and the next few days, I won't have anything going outside, so I will try to figure out the boxing in Cowtown event. This is the first time we will not have it at Old South. It will be at Rex's Bar and Grill, and this will be the 13th Boxing in Cowtown program. But it's only actually 12 years. There's 1 year we didn't have one, and 2 different years we had 2. So, but it's the 12th year that we've done it. Don Curry has been at every one of them. He's our most recognized boxer ever in Fort Worth. He held WBC, WBA, IBF all at one time. And also the Curry brothers, Bruce and Don, were the only two, or they were the first, because there was those guys that fought heavyweight against people. The Curry brothers were the first set of brothers that both held world titles at the same time. Bruce lives in Compton, California, right in the middle of the hood. I don't know if the Currys if Don and Graylin, I need to ask Graylin if they even stay in contact with Bruce. Anyway, so it will be the first year that we've had it elsewhere other than Old South Pancake House. Okay, our Cleburne group. I don't understand what you're asking. Some of our members are confused which one of the Carters was the one that did the most for the city. Okay. Well, to me, I mean, it's obviously Amon Carter Sr., Amon G. Carter Sr. Is the one that did all of the stuff. Amon Jr. followed in his footsteps, but I'm not sure about what all he did. That he was the head of different groups that good things were done, but he didn't instigate them. His dad was the mover and shaker. His dad is the one that brought, in 1950 there was a study or a survey, and I don't know how they pulled it off, that over 50% of the working population of Fort Worth worked for a company that Amon brought to town. And I believe it. Good morning. In fact, I would imagine on the day that Amon Jr. sold to Cap Cities, the TV station, the radio station, and the newspaper, I would imagine his father turned in his grave that day. That was never in the plan. In fact, myself, if Ruth would have been in charge of everything, and this is just speculation on my part, we'd have a different scenario even today, I believe. Don't know the reasoning that Junior, what really prompted him to sell, but that was never in his dad's plan, I can assure you. So, but Junior did a lot of stuff, but like I say, they used his name as a figurehead, for different programs, different things that were done that benefited the city and our uh, citizens. Amon is the one that started it, dictated it, tell everybody how it was going to happen, and made it happen. Amon's good old boy system was very powerful. It included 6, Eisenhower, Truman, Roosevelt, not the first Roosevelt that was here. 3 or 4 presidents were in his good old boy system. And then all kinds of powerful business owners, heads of state. Amon wielded a big stick, to say the least. I always tell people that come to me and ask me, hey Gene, is this story true about Amon? Whatever story you come to me with, unless it's did Amon land on the moon, all the other stories could be true, no matter what, if it was in his timeline. And I mean from early adulthood till 1950, 51. Amon died in 55. He started having medical issues in 53. But, yeah, whatever any other story was asked, it's possible. And Amon pretty much had had the last word, so to speak. He had a group of individuals that I call an Amon guy. He was an Amon guy. A lot of people called him the 7th Street Gang. Different analogies for that group, but they were the power here in Fort Worth, and they exerted their power. And really, I think every decision they ever made really every decision he ever made, I think was good for the city and the citizens. He definitely looked out for Fort Worth. You could kind of say today's president, President Trump, started an agenda called America First. Amon, I never heard him call it, but he always had Fort Worth first. Although he did probably like or love West Texas as much as he did Fort Worth. I bought all of his memoirs, and one of the lines in there, he says, it's harder to portray myself, to sell myself as a cowboy, as it is to sell Fort Worth as a cow town. In fact, his nickname for Junior was Cowboy. I've got a ton of letters that Amon wrote to Amon Jr. when he was in concentration camp, and it's all said to my cowboy, or to my little cowboy. So, but Amon never held a political position, but I can guarantee you he ran the city, and pretty much was in step with the state. If you could exclude the city to the east, he didn't much favor those folks. In fact, he downright hated them, and not necessarily the citizens. That was all brought on by a couple of different things. The governor at the time in the 30s was Maul Ferguson. She's also the lady that made the deal to pardon the family that turned in Bonnie and Clyde, the Metfords, Henry Metford and his father. She signed a document, and I believe Frank Hamer was witness to it, or maybe he had it in his possession, that when they executed Bonnie and Clyde, and that's what that was, there was no negotiation to surrender. She had okayed that. So Maul Ferguson, her husband had been the mayor, Paul Ferguson. They nicknamed him Maul and Paul. Back in the early 30s and late 20s, the country was just starting to do highway construction. You know, linking states together, cross-country trips, this, that, and the other. Well, they found out that Paul Ferguson was taking construction kickbacks, highway construction kickbacks, and so he resigned under the threat of being brought up on charges and removing him from office. So Maul, his wife, who had been active in the news and the press during her husband's tenure, Maul said, "Hey, I'll run." And so she got elected. One of her slogans was, "You get two for the price of one." So anyway, early in 35, a couple of his ace reporters went to Eamon and said, "Hey, we've got proof that Maul Ferguson is now taking highway construction kickbacks. Do we run with the story, or are you just going to kill it?" Eamon approved every front page, so I've been told, and never allowed any negative press about Fort Worth on the front page. Never. That was taboo. If you did that, you got a pink slip. If you did it twice, you no longer worked for the Star-Telegram. So Eamon said, "No, hell yeah, run with it. That's news." So Maul had always disliked Eamon, but she was scared of him because he had more power than the governor, her or her husband. Maul said in February of 35, she gets hold of Eamon and says, "Hey, you need to kill those stories." And Eamon said, "No, it's news." And the state and Eamon and all big civic leaders, starting in late 34 and early 35, started planning the 100-year centennial of Texas, 1836, so 1936. So in 35, she had toyed with the idea to keep Eamon on her good side before this stuff came up about her taking kickbacks. She had told Eamon, "Hey, would you be open to having the centennial, the Texas Centennial, in Fort Worth?" And he told her, "Yeah, hell yeah." But he said, "I don't think Fort Worth's deserving, or Houston, or Dallas, because we were not in existence in 1836. Neither city." So she said, "Well, I can kind of do what I want to do." So when she called Eamon in 35 and said, "You need to kill those stories and not talk about it," he told her no, and she said, "Fine." She gave the party to Dallas. Well, that did infuriate Eamon. That started the hatred for her and the city to the east. So Eamon, being the entrepreneur that he was, he got a hold of powers that be, people that had money, and he said, "We'll just have our own 100-year party," and they called it Frontier Celebration. He hired a guy named Billy Rose, a New York producer. Now this is in 35. We just come out of the Depression. He said, "I'll pay you $1,000 a day to oversee the construction of Casa and Will Rogers and put this celebration together." That was all the money in the world, believe me. No, there's no individual that was making $1,000 a day. The president of the United States wasn't. So anyway, our centennial celebration lasted for into the third year. Dallas's barely made the first 28-day run. Amon he went out and rented 1,100 billboards across the country and said, for entertainment, come to Fort Worth; for education, go to Dallas. And so he tried to persuade people to come in here so that they would be broke and not be able to spend any money at the Dallas deal, which was the state. West Texas, he sent buses to West Texas. Of course, he already had the people out there because he'd sent the newspaper out there for years. So I don't know how we got off on this tangent, but the Cleveland group wanted to know who did the most good, senior or junior. It was definitely senior by a mile. So that also, I threw in there the problem that Amon had with the governor family of the Fergusons, Ma and Paul Ferguson. Anyway, so Amon was definitely the man that set Fort Worth on fire. He brought the defense plants here. The Sinclair building would not be here if it hadn't been for Amon. There was 2 U.S. narcotics farms, one here, one in Kansas City. That would not have happened without Amon's influence. The bomber plant, there was one here and one in Kansas City. Ours, Amon made sure it was 50 feet longer. He always made sure Fort Worth was the best, the biggest, the whole deal. So we owe a lot to Amon Carter Sr. and the whole Carter family. That foundation still does. I just saw that foundation just gave somebody $10 million. So they do a lot of good. Something else that y'all seen that I've been posting, that the museum needs donations. Let me tell you the backstory. This is going on the 41st year that I've collected Fort Worth stuff. The Fort Worth Memories Museum is the only museum in the city of Fort Worth, or anywhere, that has nothing but Fort Worth or Tarrant County stuff in it. And yet, we're not funded by anybody except my back pocket, my detail business for 40 years. Of course, in the early days, it was nothing. And so, I spent my entire life collecting Fort Worth stuff, my money, several $1 million, over 93,000 pieces, and I got to have help. People say, well, what are we getting for that? You basically have an online museum, because you can go to Memories, to the Spyglass, and pull up anything that you think you want to ask a question about that has to do with Fort Worth, and it'll tell you everything that we've got. If we've got artifacts, if we've got memorabilia, if we've got what we talk about, photos. So yeah, I need help. I need help from y'all, people that are listening to me right now. We've had 2 $50 donations in the last 24 hours. But I got to have help, or this is not sustainable. I can't keep going on like this. I'm not going to be able to detail cars forever. So at some point, that's why we have sponsors. That helps defray the operation cost. It's $5,000 a month for the rent on this thing. And there's nothing that comes in. $100 in 2 days doesn't equal $5,000 a month. So I got to have some help. And I don't mind asking for it. Y'all, for your donation or whatever, you have the access to my brain, which my memory is unlimited about Fort Worth. I do live programs. I do history lessons. I do public speaking. This museum is open to the public. It's actually a museum online, so I got to have help. So whatever you can do, we take all the cards, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, we do Zelle, you can bring a check, any way you can help, but I've got to have help. So the ball's in your court now. During the bike giveaway, there's only a handful, not a handful, there's a lot of people that donate, but nothing like 130,000 active members. If I had $1 from every one of our members, we wouldn't have a problem. But I've got to have help to keep this thing going. So, fair warning, I'm not just saying this to hear myself talk. I need your help. So, I'll be posting the links, Venmo, PayPal, whatever. You can call me, give me a card over the phone, you can bring a check by, whatever. But we got to have help. Okay, let me go through our sponsors right now while I'm talking about them. Winstead Paint and Body, they're on White Settlement just past Roberts Cutoff. I'm going to show you this one because starting tomorrow it's going to be super cold. Bring those pets inside. Do not leave them outside. If you see somebody that's got a dog chained up somewhere, call the police. Call me. I don't care. That's BS. I ain't going for none of that. Fort Worth Florist. Jeanette and her team, I've gotten a lot of good reviews. I'm going to be posting them today about people's experiences with Fort Worth Florist during the Valentine's Rush. Alpha Design and Build, Lance Sanders. If you want a room remodeled, a house remodeled, you want a second story, you want to do something to your commercial building, Lance and his team do it all. G2 Garage, they're in the White Settlement area. Chris and his team are ready, willing, and able to start to take care of your vehicles. And there's a new client special. Feltz Family Auto Care, they're in the Burleson area. Mike Feltz and his family and his team, I never saw so many great reviews when we first posted that Mike and his family and his team are sponsors of our group. They're great. Schwartz and Hanson are our architect sponsors. They're very active in our bicycle giveaway. Great folks, great Fort Worth folks. Stroud Auto Supply, Danny Stroud and his wife, they are in the Haltom City Riverside area. I actually bought parts there when I was a kid, 16 years old. That was before Danny had it, his father had it. Come on, Internet. Okay, people that are having problems navigating through Medicare or Medicaid, you don't have any problems anymore. All you got to do is call Casey Krall Insurance Group and let Casey send one of his very qualified team members out there to go over it with you. They'll meet you at your place, their place, a restaurant, wherever. They're ready to do business. Rex Benson's Bar and Grill. That is the old Macaroni Grill on University, 1500 block of University, and I'm telling you, it's knocked out. You need to go in there and just look at that place. They got more televisions than a television station. We got 23 5-star reviews the day after the Super Bowl or the night of the Super Bowl about their experience at Rex's Bar and Grill. Rains Plumbing, that's family-owned and operated plumbing company. We've had a lot of great reviews on people that have used Rains. Charlie Guerin, what can I say? Railhead Barbecue. Charlie is on my board at Larry's Kids. Great restaurant. A huge supporter of the bicycle giveaway. Very, very active in it. In fact, Charlie brought in tens of thousands of dollars for last year's giveaway. Great person, always active in a lot of civic stuff. He's also our state rep. Charlie Guerin. Fort Worth Optimist Club. These folks do many, many, many good things for youth. They have all kinds of athletic programs they support. They have scholarships at TCC. They do a lot of good stuff. I didn't catch that. I got a news break or something. Passport Getaways. If you're planning on taking a trip or a cruise, you want to fly to Vegas, 2 or 3 families want to go out there, stay in the same hotel, and do all the stuff together, call Passport Getaways. They will do all the legwork, set it all up. All you have to do is provide the money. K Ranch Roofing. That's Jorge Hernandez. Jorge, or George, is the owner. So if you think you got roof damage, don't go get a ladder and try to climb up there and figure it out. You'll fall off and damage yourself. Call Jorge's company, K Ranch Roofing, and the lady you'll talk to is Bree, and she will set you up an appointment. They'll get one of their specialists out there, and they'll tell you if you got any roof damage or not. Don't guess about it. Call them. Old South Pancake House. Same parking lot as Rex's Bar and Grill. Old South has been in the Benson family since 1962. In fact, I knew Rex's daddy before Rex knew him. You can get 24/7 breakfast at Old South, or 24/7 food. Now, there's one in Burleson, and they close at night. They're not open 24/7. But, man, their breakfast is something else. Jenny Stewart, State Farm Insurance. What can I say? Jenny's got a great insurance company there. Lots of team members. They're interested in giving you the best coverage they can for the best deal they can. So if you're like me and a lot of other people, your insurance payment just comes out of your banking account, so you don't write a check, so you don't think about it. Call Jenny's team and let them give you a quote. If you can just save $20 a month, that'll pay for a nice weekend out, $300 or $400. So get on the ball, people. Cross Electric, Brandon Cross. Here's another family-owned business that's a sponsor of Fort Worth Memories. If you need an electrician, don't mess with it yourself, because electricity can kill you. Call Brandon Cross, let him get somebody out there and figure out what to do with your situation. There is Express Dent. Dick Regester started that company about the same time I started Classic Detail, more than 30-something years ago. Mine's over 40 years ago. Dick now lives in Florida, the Sunshine State, but he comes back pretty often. He's been in here in the museum quite a bit. His operating partner is Eric. Eric is over there. They're over on White Settlement, kind of across from, I guess, BMW. Autobahn BMW. I guess that would be the one across the street. It for years was Hurdle Auto Care, or Hurdle Autos. That's Express Dent. So if you got door dings, hail damage, anything like that, go by and see Eric, and he can get you fixed up. They do great work. Who's next on our lineup? Fort Worth Lumber. They're on the South Freeway. I still call it South Freeway. 35. Building materials, building plans. Just pick their brain on how to do something. Go by Fort Worth Lumber. and they have been sponsors on our group almost from day one, and they're also very active in our bicycle giveaway. Great folks. Dickey Carr Sand and Gravel, that's Richard Carr's father. So now the owners of that is Pat and Richard Carr. Very active in all things Fort Worth. Richard and Pat are both great people. I visit with them often. When we made the giveaway, Larry's Kids, and made it a non-profit, Richard wrote the first check for $5,000 for a donation for Larry's Kids. Great guy. Pat, great person. Grateful for Your Trees. That is Richard Carr's nephew, Dickie. This gentleman's in his 30s, I guess. But anything to do with trees, they can fix it. If you just need your trees trimmed, or you want them, a tree cut down, a stump ground down, firewood, bobcat work, this Dickie Carr can take care of it. He needs the work, and he's ready to take care of your business. Give him a call. There's Bert Ladner Real Estate. Wes Williams, our friend, is associated with Bert Ladner. Wes is also on the board of Larry's Kids. But let me tell you a little story about Wes and Sarah Williams. Whenever there's any kind of an issue here or anywhere that they know of, they're first to the plate, believe me. Great people. It's an honor to know them. I've known Wes over 40 years. I knew him when he was still at TCU. So that's how far I go back with Wes Williams. Coburn's Catering. Steve Coburn. Coburn started in the cafeteria business in 1946, right there on North Main, where they're still at. I've been doing business or knowing the Coburns, Otha, Gary, Steve's father, Steve, since the 60s. They still got the cafeteria building. That's where they do their cooking. But the cafeteria is not open anymore, but they can cater any event that you've got. A party of 15 or a party of 500, doesn't matter. Call Steve Coburn, he can fix you. A-Bird AC and Heating, that is Dub Peacock's company. I bet you his phone's ringing off the wall with 15-degree temperature in the morning. So anything to do with heat and air, Dub Peacock is your guy. He can get somebody out there, one of his technicians, and they can fix you up. Okay. Eric Walsh. Eric is also in the real estate business, but Eric goes way past that. He does a lot of great things, civically minded, he and his wife. He's also on the board of directors at Larry's Kids. Brought in a lot of money for the giveaway. Just overall good guy. You know, whenever here at Larry's Kids, whenever we've needed anybody to do anything, you can get a hold of Eric or Colin or Kyle or Wes or Charlie. Anybody on my board, there's no hesitation. It's what do you need and when do you need it? So thumbs up to all of the board members of Larry's Kids. Y'all have helped make this thing really keep going. Okay, so again, I want to stress we got to have donations. There's no more him-hawing around about it. X number of dollars has got to go out every month to keep this thing alive, and we don't have it. So I've spent my entire life collecting Fort Worth stuff at my expense, millions of dollars, and so I got to have some help. Hopefully I provide enough either entertainment or history lessons or something to get some donations, $50, $100 donations, but we got to have them, and we got to have them pretty much regular. I mean, it has to have funds to survive. And again, I stress, this is the only museum in Fort Worth that's about Fort Worth. That's all it's about is Fort Worth. Fort Worth or Tarrant County. And when you come in and you ask a question, if we don't have something in it in the museum, it's in my head. I can assure you of that. Okay, so I'm waiting on a car to get here. Y'all bundle up. Get your winter clothes. I forgot to bring a big coat. But you know what helps me more than anything? And y'all seen me wear it. I see athletes have these things on. This thing where you've got a little spot to look out of, but it covers your ears and your neck, and that's all. When you got all that covered, you're okay. All right, so please help in donations. This is not a drill, it's real time.